Hi guys, welcome back to Manifest with Armini. My name is Armini and I'm a law of attraction consultant. I haven't done this in a while and there was something that I wanted to make a video about, but I prefer doing a live, so I thought I'd just open up a chat, or even if this is just to be viewed again, it'll be worth it, because this is like just something that's generally involved when people start to want to manifest things deliberately after they learn about the law of attraction. And it's usually, this is specifically when it involves other people. So what does that mean, other people? Everything involves other people, but this is for when someone starts to realize that, okay, so if everything is created by our thoughts, then what I want to change is somebody else. If you want to change somebody else through your thoughts and feelings. And the funny thing about this is that in the beginning, a lot of times we don't realize that there really is nobody else. It's just us. So this is why, like, if you want to manifest things and you don't really want to, like, you don't care to understand like the actual nature of this reality and how things happen in the first place, then that's why I say it's kind of like it's kind of spells and witchcraft. And again, I don't have experience with that, but obviously the foundation of that is the natural laws. But what we're really striving for here, at least most of the viewers on my channel, is really for like transformation in some part of our lives. And it's not so much just to change one thing, like, to kind of zap and have this part changed, to have this to have this thing appear in my life, or to have this thing disappear in my life, or to have this person in my life change the way they're being. And in that sense, it's just like really important. I'm saying just, but there's no just here. It's crucial, I'd say, to understand that there really is no other person. If you're, well, for example, maybe she's watching, but today one of the people who asked me a question today was regarding marriage, and she's in a marriage, and she's recently in a marriage, and she's not happy with the way she's being treated. And I don't know this person well at all, so this is just the first question she's ever asked me. So she's not happy with the way she's being treated, and she's not happy with her mother-in-law, and she finds that the mother-in-law is causing the problems, is intentionally causing the problems in our marriage. So if you want to fix things, then understand that the reason that thing exists in the first place as an experience in your life is because somehow you were aligned with that. When my hair is a total mess, it's 12:15 midnight here, but so if you want, for this example, your marriage, you're not happy with your marriage, your husband is not treating you well, not the way you want to be treated, in a way that society would also agree with you that, hey, you're not being treated really well. So there's a huge difference between, this is why going to relationship counseling, or to, not that I disagree with relationship counseling, because if people want that, it's fine. Oh, hey Raven, I'm gonna read all your messages right after I just quickly say this part. So yeah, I'm not against like marriage counseling or relationship counseling. It's everyone's choice, but there's going to be different approaches. And when you understand the way that things actually happen in our lives, the way they manifest in our lives, then you'll know that it doesn't matter if what you're going through is something that everyone would agree with you, that no, this is not fair, this is unjust. So if you're in a relationship and you're not happy with the way your spouse is treating you, if you want to go about this like in a way through understanding the natural laws, you'd have to accept eventually that there is no such thing as your spouse being separate from you, or your mother-in-law being separate from you. Those are all just reflections of what's going on inside of you and what your self-concept is. Now you might say, okay, but my mother-in-law hates me. You might say that, and you might say that, how can my mother-in-law hate me? I don't hate myself. So nothing is really black and white. Like, so okay, yeah, you don't hate yourself, of course. None of us has one attitude on ourselves, but we are, the way human beings are set up. Like, our role is simple, but we are complex. So there will be thoughts and assumptions we make of ourselves that, we don't we wouldn't generally agree with if we saw it on paper. Like, if someone says, hey, this is a list of everything you believe about yourself, you'd be surprised at the list that would come out, because we don't realize that we are having these thoughts or assumptions about us in our lives that, aren't really what we want, but we just let them run through our minds sometimes, and those have taken shelter in our subconscious mind, and they're hanging around in there. So no, if your mother-in-law hates you, does it mean you hate yourself? No, but what it does mean is that you have a belief that your mother-in-law hates you, and you probably had that belief before you got into this relationship, with your husband, because if that's what you got, in your partnership, then that is what you were expecting, or you were assuming, or you were, fearing it. And when you're fearing something, there's assumption involved in that, because if you're assuming that it won't be a problem, then it's not part of your self-concept and won't manifest in your life that way. And the partner who has the mother-in-law, if they truly don't love you, then you wouldn't be aligned with that partnership. So this is pretty much just right now answering that, going in depth about why, people treat us a certain way. And you have to just take a simple, it's not like deep analytics, so you don't have to go deep into, what I think about myself, or no, it's just that it's actually amazingly wonderful and simple, that when something shows up in our life, all we have to do is look and be like, oh, well, everything is a reflection, of what I'm doing inside myself. And if you see that someone is treating you in a way that you don't want to be treated, then that's an excellent opportunity for you to know that, okay, I don't know how I'm doing this in myself. I don't know what assumption I have, but clearly it has to do something with me assuming that I would have a mother-in-law who does not love me, or does not show that she loves me, or I would have a husband who, that's part of what you're identifying with, or you practice identifying with. You pre-paved that, before you got married, before you got in this relationship, that you would be with someone who doesn't value you, or doesn't do what you say, or does the opposite of what you prefer. So what it comes down to here is, if you're already in a marriage, in a relationship, if you are not aligning with certain treatment, then you would not be receiving it. And this is not about blame, because if you understand natural law, then you know there's really no such thing as blame. An excellent thing to do is, non-critical self-observation, as Neville teaches. So can we apply non-critical self-observation to this situation? Yes, you can. What you do is you say, hey, I'm gonna use my name, but hey, Arminade, let's see. So you're in a marriage, let's say, where you feel like whatever you want, the opposite is happening. Whatever you want to come out of your spouse's mouth, the opposite is coming out. Now, are you really trying to control the person, as in, like, to use them as your, as a way to do things so that you can be happy? Or are you actually just wanting a peaceful, like, healthy relationship? There's a difference. And of course, everyone who studies Neville is going to say, but Neville says you can have whatever you want no matter what. And that's true. But, like, when I talk to people, it's not usually just to tell them how to get the stuff. It's to actually, like, have them understand how they're getting it, and to know that if you're doing it for a reason that is to be happy when you're not happy right now, or because you can recognize something in your life that you're not agreeing with in the moment that you want to change, but you can be generally like pretty happy, like in the sense like you're not looking for happiness through this one thing. If you understand happiness, if you are like aligned with that in general, then then attracting a better relationship with the person you're with is a healthy thing to want and do. On the other hand, if you are just unhappy with the way, with, let's say, the cards that you were dealt, if that's the way you see things, then you're gonna have a lot of trouble and a lot of disappointment and frustration in the first place, trying to navigate your way through the relationship and trying to control the other person. Because if you want to control someone else in order to be happy, in order for them to give you certain evidence that will make you feel like, okay, now I'm being treated well, so I'm being worthy, and this manifesting stuff is working. The manifesting stuff is working anyway, because the reason that you're not being treated well is because you had some sort of expectation, and a lot of this is a cultural expectation. It doesn't matter what culture it is. As a society, we like have, especially the mother-in-law thing. It's like look, what do people associate the word mother-in-law with? Problems, right? so that's why in general it's so common for relationships with mother-in-laws to be tense. Okay, because that's just assumed the way it is, even if we don't realize it. So check yourself. Like, guys, if you're getting married soon, if you're opening to a relationship, and you want to attract a relationship, then ask yourself, okay, where am I in alignment? Where are my associations with in-laws? If I'm going to have in-laws, what kind of relationship do I want with them? So kind of pre-pave that, like Abrahamic would say, pre-pave that, because if you're clear on what you want in that part of the relationship, then why not like let that resonate, and let that person who's gonna be your partner, attract them in your life, attract the relationship in a way where your in-laws are going to be welcoming of you, and your relationship won't just be a reflection of that old association with, oh, in-laws aren't nice to me because I'm a daughter-in-law or because I'm a son-in-law. That's just crap. Like that's just things that we're running off of. And I understand that. I know that's like you're just running off of typical societal expectations of in some way expecting to not be given an easy time when it comes to that stuff. So you can definitely change your relationship and experience with people in your life. My whole point in all this talking up to now has been to be like, just check yourself. Are you conditioning your happiness based on what other person does and what they are changing into? So are you saying, I'll be happy when this person changes, so I'm going to use the law of attraction knowledge, to knowledge of the law of attraction to change them so I can be happy? That is a battle, my friends, we cannot win. Because that's like saying, like Neville says, you look in the mirror, you don't try to change the image in the mirror, right? You change yourself. So if you like, if your hair is messy right now, and you want to not be messy, so when you're looking in the mirror, you don't brush the hair of the reflection in the mirror. You brush your own hair, and the reflection reflects that, right? And it really is that simple. Like Abraham Hicks, this is why, like, I understand that there's a difference in the approach for Abraham Hicks, who would say, look for things in the person to appreciate, look for things to focus on that you do appreciate about that person, instead of things that you don't appreciate. Sometimes that's a longer way to go around it, when Neville's approach in this case is a lot more direct, and it's just about seeing the person as you want to see them. Assume the feeling and gratitude and appreciation that they already are expressing things the way you want them to express it. Not because it's a condition upon which you're to be happy, but allow yourself in that process to become happy, as you imagine that in your mind's eye. Because, I mean, ultimately, like, isn't like one of Rhonda Byrne's books called The Power, and that power is love? So, what you're really doing is you're applying your consciousness in a loving way to seeing that person um, happy, and it may not seem like it's tied, but ultimately, if you want a healthy relationship, obviously both people have to be enjoying it, right? Like, would you be happy if you make these demands of this person, and you are, let's say, you're trying to put a spell on them so they can change, and do things that make you happy, but do you want to be with someone who's just there as an instrument to make you happy because things are conditional upon that? It just doesn't make any sense, and it's a not great feeling way to go about it. And I know that a lot of people who are um, into the love attraction because, or learn about it because they want to change a person or change their way, the way they see you, want to change that, you can definitely change it. That's so easy. Like, you don't even know. Because if, I mean, maybe you know, but like, if you're asking this question, if you have this question in your mind, can I change the way a person treats me? You can absolutely change the way they treat you, because the way they're treating you right now is because of you. It's because of what you are being, and they're being a reflection of that back to you. So, my friends, if you want to change the way that other people are seeing you, then all you need to change is the way that you are seeing yourself and the way you are feeling about being seen a certain way. To say that my husband doesn't do things the way I want him to do it, my husband does the opposite of what I want, you have to really change it, because the power is not in what you demand in that way. The power is in your assumption of how you are being treated in general. Um, your husband can't treat you in the way you want to be treated, even if they wanted to, because you are there in the state of not having that. You are in the state of not experiencing that. So all this is feedback. The way people treat us, the way things they say to us, is all feedback to say what shifts we need to make in our consciousness. And generally, it comes down to um, I am loved, I am worthy, and I know that being worthy is not necessary in Neville's teachings, because people, like, we assume that things have only one meaning, but the word worthy is just a word, and it means different to different people. So being worthy or deserving something, if that's the way you see things, then just affirm that you are worthy. Like, I am worthy. I am, I am good. I am loved. Just, I am loved. I am loved. I am shown love. I am receiving love. And say things. Use your I ams to generate feelings that you want to experience, because that's what's going to make you happy. It's the first manifestation of shifting your vibration is the emotion. It's the feeling that you have. So when you change your state and you change your feeling, when you change your feeling state, you will immediately manifest emotions that say, okay, I feel different now. And if the emotion you're manifesting is what you want to experience, then you're doing the right thing, and you're feeling the right thing, and you're seeing the right thing in your mind's eye. And we often do this in the opposite way without realizing it, when we're picturing or imagining things about how unjust they are and how unfair they are and how someone's behaving in a way we don't want. Um, and the emotions we're manifesting in that moment are anxiety or frustration or sadness, or just loss of control, like a lack of control. And those are things, that's exactly how it will manifest in your life. So really, feeling is everything. And if you want to change someone else, um, you have to realize that that person is only coming into your life in the way that you are manifesting them in your life. That person is only a messenger, only a messenger. Um, it is so, I can't think of the word right now, but it's so pointless and completely a waste of energy and I know we're always evolving, so nothing's a waste, but it is not productive in the physical sense to see things in other people, you know, the way we're experiencing it, and to be upset at that because the solution is nowhere near um, the the process of changing them in order for you to now approve of it. It's always us. It's always in our expectations. Those people, if they insist on treating people a certain way, they will not show up in your life. And if this person like married you, like from this question that I had today, if this person married you, then they probably don't hate you. There can be feelings of hate. There can be feelings of resentment. There could be feelings of rebellion in a relationship. I get that, but um, you are always getting what you're getting through alignment. So, you know, if someone else, let's say, was better for you, was your right partner, then if you do these shifts in vibration and if you enter your feeling state of the end result of what you want in a relationship, if that person was really just like that and it's just because they're like that, then that person would fall away because he would be immediately replaced um, by your better match. Um, I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case because when you are so dwelling upon being treated unjustly and this person doesn't understand me and this person doesn't love me, then it's most likely that they want to be a good spouse and it's just not able to come through in your experience that way. And you're both frustrated probably because you are pushing it away through that. Yeah, let me see what you guys have been asking. Hey Raven, I don't want a quick fix. I just want to understand the flow with mechanics of manifestation. Yeah, just because once you know how things are being or coming to be in your life, then you just manifest things in a more peaceful, smooth way with ease. So it's oh, you're on the East Coast, yeah, 3. Yeah, it was 3. Wow, so I'm not the only one up late. Sometimes I stay up through the night and then like I nap in the morning. Lately, for some reason, I guess I'm not the only one. Good morning, Rosa. Hi from Netherlands. Hi. One alien. Hi. San Diego. Yes. So you're with me in the same time. Oh, New Jersey. All right. Cool. Cool. So, yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. That's really the topic that I wanted to come to you with today, with changing another person. If you have any specific questions about changing another person, this would be an excellent time to ask. Because I mean, we all at one point or another want to change something in someone, um, and a lot of times we feel like it's for their own good. Like, hey, this person is being like self-destructive, or they're being self-sabotaging, and you want to change that in them for their own benefit. And really, honestly, guys, the way to do that is to see them the way that they would want to be. Just see them as their highest, like, best self. So if you have friends, like these are the extreme things, I guess, let's say. If you have friends who are like alcoholics, or if they're addicted to drugs, or they have some kind of problem where they are spiraling down or have been that way for years, like we've so long been just assuming that the way to help them is to show them we're concerned, right? Because also we have, for some reason, this need to prove that we're concerned sometimes. or just like we can talk. The responsible thing is to be concerned and to be involved, but that is the longer, harder process for both of you. Um, for you as their friend or family, and for them as a person who's struggling, because the direct, quickest way to help them is to see them as already well and whole, and to see them as, because think about what we do when we think about some person who has some kind of problem that we wish was they were, we love them and we care for them. So what we do when we think about them, the first thing we think is there's like this association of feeling of like, yeah, they're struggling, yeah, they're going for this thing, and it's like we think, oh, it's empathy, or we feel for them, that's why. But we gotta stop feeling for them that way, and not in a way. And see, this is so messed up that society makes us feel like, oh, if we don't feel bad for them, then we don't care about them, and we're being apathetic, or we're being just cold, or we're being like, but you take care of your problems, it's not my problem. That's not at all what it is. You do your work vibrationally, you see them as they want to be and as you want them to be, because if you want them to be happy, you want them to be as they want to be, right? So you see them free of this solution, and you start really prepaving for them, and trust me, they will come into your experience as no longer having this problem. They will come into your experience as the version of themselves that you have created in your mind, because you've done the prepaving. It's for yourself, because you are imagining seeing them as happy and whole, so they will show up for you happy and whole. And it won't be faking, it won't be that they're faking it, it'll be because they're actually, if you feel that state, then they will show up for you in that exact way, and it will happen so naturally that you'll definitely, the first time at least, you'll brush off and be like, okay, it wasn't really me that did that, right? You, just like Neville says, you'll assume that it would have happened anyway, because you think that there's no way that just my seeing them in my mind that way and feeling that, there's no way that that had that much power to cause the difference, but it is. And if you can accept that and understand that, you will do so much for yourself and for others, because we think that pushing against everything, we were taught to think that pushing against things or fighting against it is what solves problems, but it's all in the way you see it and feel about it. Let's see if there's anything else here. How do you change someone who is a player into someone who wants this relationship? All right, baby girls, let's do this. So you've already labeled this person as a player, and we know or say that it's because obviously that's what they're doing, right? So now, did you know this person was a player, let's say, before you were with them? Or is this something that happened and then you started categorizing them as that after you're already with them? So that'll help me like go back. You found out way later. Okay. So like I said in the beginning, people show up in our lives the way that we assume or expect them to. It doesn't mean, and then it got, okay, so it doesn't mean that it's about blame or anything like that, because, so many times what people want to do is we want to blame, like, oh, it's your fault that you're like this, and then, they might say, no, it's our fault, but, or like, you might be like, oh, no, it's you might think I'm saying it's your fault because you thought you must have assumed it that way. It's not about fault. It's not about fault at all. But whether it's the person who has the habit of being a player, or you attracted, you assumed being played, and then that person, whether or not they had that habit, came into your life in that way, in that moment. They did stuff that would align with an assumption that you had. Now, I mean, there's no need to like dissect this because you want to keep it simple. If you've already labeled someone a player, let's be logical here. Can you now see them as the opposite? Can you now see them and think of them without tying to them being a player? Now, I'll tell you, like as a woman or as a human being in general, like that's like something that we base a lot of emotions and hurt on. So, if I mean, if you can get to that level, and it's not hard, it's just that a lot of people think it's hard to see this person for who they truly are, who is not a player. And when I'm saying who they truly are is because deep down inside, people want, like, our nature is transparency. The only reason people hide things or people do things that um, aren't in harmony, with what we want for ourselves or what other people want for us, is because along the way, we identify ourselves with certain things, and other people identify us with certain things. So if you're gonna call this guy a player, then he's gonna keep being a player, at least in your experience. And if he stops being a player um, from what he's doing, then it's not gonna be with you because you're seeing him as a player now. And you might think, no, but no, I'm giving a chance. I'm not gonna, I'm not totally like labeling him as just that. He does have good qualities that I do appreciate, but are you still letting that part of his identity like continue? Like when you're thinking about that, I'm not saying like stay with him. Like I don't know if you're with him in a relationship, but if you're if you're with him in a relationship and it's like really in your face all the time, then like it's not a bad idea to step away. But if you can change your vibration about it, then it'll all fall into place. Someone will come if he's not gonna um, change that about himself, then someone else will appear and you will not even miss him. Like it'll be such a natural transition, you won't even notice that you're missing anything. So if you want to manifest a relationship with someone who's not a player, be it the one you're in right now or another one, all you have to do is assume this feeling state of being in a relationship, where there's no playing around. So let me see if you add any more details there. So you said you found out way later and then it got into your head. Yeah, because you're gonna obsess over it. I mean, think about it. Like, if you find out or if you can suspect it, what's gonna happen? You're gonna become obsessed with it. Become obsessed with the fact that, oh, is he a player? He's a player. Now he's a player. You know that I was cheated. I was misled. I was fill in the blank. So the real question is, do you want the drama of dwelling on how messed up that is, how you were wronged? Because yeah, but once you recognize that, the reason we experience those things is so we can now be like, oh, okay, yeah, I don't like this. So you enter the state of feeling secure in a relationship, of feeling loved, and the feeling of someone being faithful. So that's really what you want to focus on. You're not going to obliterate a problem by focusing on how bad it makes you feel or how unjust and unfair it is. So yeah. Adam 1. My SP is a public health doctor, and I always. Oh, sorry. Messages keep going away. My SP is a public health doctor, and I always been considerate, understanding of the demands of his job and his elderly parents, but it only showed my 3D has not enough time for me. How can I change my perspective of him to change my 3D? So sometimes our own like need or habit to feel overlooked or deprioritized, sometimes it comes up as a very strong force. And as much as our logical mind will know, because we are good people, right? You know that, his job is important, and his parents, taking care of his elderly parents is important. And so you honor that, and yet there's this nagging feeling that cyclically, like as a cycle will come up, and you'll be like, well, no, it's not fair. What about me? So you can be very understanding. You can be really like just considerate of those things, and then every once in a while, that thing will happen. I don't know if this is your experience, but that's from what I can pick up from it. Then yeah, you end up like, okay, but is it sustainable? Is this something that I really want? Am I a priority or not? When do we matter? When do I matter? Is it just like an emotional relationship, or are we actually building a life together? So those are all things that are very understandable, very common, but it doesn't have to be like that. How does not be like that? This is how it is. You have to affirm your I am, that your I am has to be, there is always time for me. The people I love always have, I'm loved, I'm always given the time. I have all the time I need with the people I love. Something around that. Make it natural to you. I'm not just going to feed you words and you add that, but make it feel natural to you, and make it like, hey, what do I want to know about myself? Like, what do I want to be true in my life experience? So if the feedback you're given is there's never enough time for me, or there's always too many other priorities, you just say, I am a priority. I am a priority, and it's not a demand. It's not a demand, it's a command, yes, to the universe or to the God mind, but you say it as an affirmation, and you say it confidently, because if you think that there's no power in what you speak in your I ams, then you must not realize, and sometimes I don't realize, everybody goes through this, that when you're saying, I'm always left last, I'm always overlooked, or I'm not important, I'm not given the time, those are all I ams. Those are all affirmations. Those are all decrees. They're all prophecies. So what you say is very important. Yeah, you are a priority. And just be mindful of when you're saying that it's not like a, hey, but I am, like it might feel like that at first, but what you're really going for is a feeling of naturalness. So I'm a priority. Yeah, I'm a priority. Like, it won't even matter. You know what I mean? Like, and like, does anybody like, do you see all the situations this can be applied to? And I know how that feels. I know how it feels to not feel a priority, whether it's in like an intimate relationship, or any relationship, or work, or anything. To have moments where you feel I'm not a priority. But what you do is you reinstate. You say, I am a priority, and you say it to yourself until it clothes itself in reality, in tones of reality. And what that means is it becomes easier and easier to say it, and it starts to feel less and less of a lie. It starts to feel less and less of something you're reaching for, and you actually start to think from that state. It becomes natural. You think, like, you eventually think, well, yeah, of course I'm a priority. Like, why am I still saying this, that's what you really want. And you can add other I ams to that, because it will lead to other I ams. I am a priority. I am a priority. I am, I'm loved. I am, full of, my day is full of, the affection that I need. Like, whenever I need it, it's there, and I don't have to seek for it. I know I'm important. I know that, if it starts as reasoning, that's fine, because you might need to convince yourself of the truth of that. But once you find the wording that works for you in that, then just keep repeating it, and it will become natural for you. And it really takes, like, I want to say no time, but it takes like so little time for that to start showing up for you. It really does. Like, I can't even, if I said it, you guys wouldn't believe it. So just do it. You guys are saying. You're welcome, Adam. I was the youngest of three children, so I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it could be for any reason. It could be because you were the youngest and maybe didn't get all the attention. And it could be because in your family, the youngest always got the attention, and you have to be the oldest or the middle. It's just whatever um, circumstances it were, but it doesn't. That does not define you. That does not um, decide your fate of like, well, I was the youngest, so it's great that you acknowledge that, like, hey, maybe it was from that, and just know that that's so fleeting. It's so fleeting that that happened, and it's only why you felt that way, and now you feel differently. It's that quick. You just make the change. You don't have to go therapy for the next 5 years to to get past it. RB saying, what's your sign? I don't know if that's for me or let's see. Hold on a second. Adele Mapcheval. Let's see. I'm no more attached to my SP as before, but still trying to manifest her after 2 years. She just texts time to time and asks for a drink. Messages keep going away. Hold on. I'm on the iPad this time, so I can see your messages bigger. Let's see, I'm no more attached to my SP as before, but still trying to manifest her after 2 years. She just texts time to time and asks for a drink as a friend, but I don't want. Hard to believe for her to come back. So is this because, have you been less attached because you're like given up because you feel like it's not going to happen? Or are you not as attached because you feel like it's not a big deal? So let me know right now if you're still watching. Are you no longer attached to your SP because, to your special person, because you don't think it's going to happen and you don't see how, so you've kind of given up in that sense? Or is it because it's just not as much of a problem that you see it as? So, well, until you answer, I'll go through the possibilities. So it doesn't, if you actually enter the state and felt it real to be in a relationship with your specific person, then what would happen is that you would start to just feel natural about it, and you wouldn't feel attached anymore because you would know that it's already done on some level. Because it is. As soon as you want something, it's already done on some level. That's why Abraham Hicks' book is called Ask and It Is Given, because you're never given a desire to come through you. No desire comes through you without the actual all the details of how it's going to happen already planned out. That is why it's the seed. That's why the Bible calls it the seed. The Bible calls it the seed. That the seed contains everything that's necessary for its manifestation in it. So the how is already in the seed. It's in the mustard seed. It's in the lemon seed. It's in the mango pit. It's in everything. Every seed contains its plan for fruition, like for growth and fruition, for it manifesting into exactly what you want. So if you're saying that you're now not attached to it because you have given up, then that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if that's the desire that you had, then you're probably still going to have it. And it's just that now you're just being kind of down on yourself, or down on the whole process, down on the possibilities of it, and you're not, wanting to put yourself through that. So you're kind of numbing yourself, maybe, which is fine. There's no right or wrong. It's just a process. It's part of the process. You might always stay in that part of the process, or you might move on from that part, be it, just repressing it and like not wanting to ever think about it again, or you will realize that it is easy if you want it, and then You'll feel lighter about it, and then with feeling lighter about it, you will attract the better feeling experience. Hey, Jackson. Okay, it's like about that time where like more people can come on. Not here in LA, but overseas. Let's see. So yeah, I'm not getting an answer from before. Okay, I still have a desire to have her in my life, but after 2 years, tired. Okay, I still have a desire to have her in my life, but after 2 years, tired waiting. Also, I'm less attached because still loving her. So that's something like important that you said at the end there, because if you can just enjoy loving her, um, then that's really, the essence of the relationship. Now, if you think that means that you're settling for loving her in the friendship, that's not what I mean. Because what's happening is if you find satisfaction and you're appreciating her for who she is, and you're loving her as a friend, and at the same time you can take away the feeling of something missing, um, then the relationship will manifest right there. So, and if she's really not the match to your desire, then the person who is will naturally show up. Um, so that's important. So you know how people say, "Oh, I gave up," and then my SP showed up. Um, you know, that's near close to what you're experiencing, but just I have a feeling that when you're hanging out with her, when you're having drinks with her, you're assuming that you're just a friend. So if you can if you still like just to play around with it, for the heck of it, if you feel like um, doing this, then you can mindfully, like consciously remove that feeling of, I'm just going to enjoy her as my friend. I'm going to love her as my friend. Um, and if you'll notice, there's a heaviness um, that you carry along with that. That is, she's not my partner, but I'm still gonna love her and I appreciate this. So what you want to do is just take out that heaviness of the, well, she's not my partner, and just be light about it, because the more you assume and define things, even if you're not conscious of doing it, you're blocking it from coming in. So just appreciate her, and that's it. And if that is where you are, then she or someone even better, although it may be hard for you, someone to think about it, but she or even someone even better will show up in the perfect way that you want, and it will be in the most natural way that it unfolds. So I'm excited for you. Jackson, yes, I'm from the Netherlands. Yes, I'm seeing ships. I actually have quite a few people I've worked with in the Netherlands, so the time zone, I'm familiar with the scheduling of it. It's one of the more popular time zones that I work with. Let's see. This chat keeps going away. I'm seeing shifts in my reality. Thanks for your guidance on me. You're welcome. If you have any questions, feel free to share. I'm still on for another like 10 minutes. Let's see. Yeah, so that's about it. And then I started this live stream with the whole. Yeah, you're welcome. So one more thing about that, with the friends that you go for drinks with sometimes, is that it's the same thing I said before, but I'm just like gonna present it a little bit differently. When when this girl texts you for drinks, to go for drinks, in that moment, if not before that, then in that moment, don't let the shadow Don't let the shadow of, but she's not my girlfriend, or but she's not my wife, just don't, like, notice the shadow because it is going to be there probably, and then remove it and be like, that's not even relevant, it's not important, because when it comes down to it, what is a relationship, what is a girlfriend? It's someone who you enjoy going for drinks with. You can play it out in your mind's eye, the entire night, just as though you're already in a relationship with her, and you will manifest the relationship that feels exactly that way as you did imagine it with her, whether it's with someone else or with her. I mean, there's a good chance with her, why not? So it's just like, I really want to emphasize that, like, whenever we have a hard time thinking about how it's going to happen or how someone's going to change towards us, it's really not hard once you realize that the reason that we're not being treated the way we want, or we're not being seen as the person we want, or we're not that role in their life that we want to be, is because we ourselves are not identifying as being that role. And I'm not saying that if you want to be someone's girlfriend or boyfriend, that you just say, you know what, I'm this person's girlfriend or boyfriend. It's not like that. It's just a feeling place. You go into that feeling place, and that person, or even better, will show up in your life in a way where you're that role for them. Um, it's just, it's all about feeling. It's all about identifying, who are you identifying as being? That explains how you're being treated by anyone in your life. So it's exactly what happened. What's happened, and it hurts more seeing her. Yeah, but it hurts more seeing her because you're seeing her and reminding yourself that I'm seeing her, but she's not mine. So just remove that feeling of it, of she's not mine. I'm seeing her, but she's not mine. I'm seeing her, but this is, the consolation prize, or this is, I'm settling for this because this is all I can have right now. Those are all things that you're familiar with. We all know about that. But just that's not how God thinks, and that's not how you think. You need to think as God, because your thoughts are creative. Your thoughts are creating your experience. If a desire is in you, then who do you think put that desire in you? It's not your physical mind that put that desire in you. The desire is coming through you because there is a reason. There's a reason. All right, guys. So I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm going to do this again soon. I appreciate you guys for joining. It's 1 o'clock in the morning now. I'm gonna go have my snack and think about sleeping. But yeah, thank you for everything that you guys have contributed to this talk. I know it seems sometimes like, when other people, when you're not the one asking the question, it seems sometimes like it's not. When you're not the one asking the question, sometimes it seems like whatever, they're just questions and answers. But you really understand that at some point, especially when it's your question, that every little bit makes a difference. Everything that you do to inch towards shifting your vibration on any subject, it makes a huge difference, because that's all that matters. Like, so all the force in the world, all the like physical or action force that you do is so small when compared to just changing the way you are feeling about things and changing the way that you're identifying with those things, because that's what's controlling it in the first place. Okay, so thank you guys. Have a great morning, night, wherever it is, whatever it is where you are, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.